Hi guys, thanks for coming to Adam's Improv Night. So to start things off, I'm going to need a person and an occupation from the audience.
Boo! Get off the stage!
Did I hear Vince McMahon as a plumber?
Boo!
As you saw from that, improvisation is not as easy as it looks, but it's an integral part of wrestling. So much so, half the time you don't even realise when a spot has been improvised. So with that in mind, I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture, and these are 10 awesome wrestling spots that were totally improvised. Number 10, he hurt Kurt. As awkward as it was literally gripping, the shoot showdown between tough enough competitor and amateur mixed martial artist Daniel Puder and Kurt Angle very nearly ended in disaster for the Olympian when Puder nearly broke his bloody arm. The storyline called for the bully heel Angle to kind of roughhouse the tough enough competitors as part of a challenge, but he didn't count on Daniel Puder's, let's just call it, unexpected skill set that had him in all sorts of bother until he shifted it into a pinning combination. I mean, it's barely improvisation. He just sort of moves a little bit so the ref can count a dodgy 3 count. Despite Puder clearly just trying his best, his cards were marked from that point. So much so, he was fed to Benoit Guerrero and hardcore sodding Holly at the Royal Rumble. That'll make anyone reconsider their career choices. Number 9, Clash of the Titan. Kenny Omega stepping to then Bullet Club leader AJ Styles at 2016's New Year's Dash crafted a fine write-out for the Phenomenal One as he prepared for his move to WWE. The original send-off was going to be a Bullet Club beatdown and a one-winged angel, but then Kenny Omega at the last second improvised an incredible touch to finish it all off. Rushing the ring with the Young Bucks, he hit the Styles Clash on the former IWGP champion, which served as a perfect exclamation mark on the attack and ensured Kenny Omega got the highest possible profile after the fact too. It also was a nice little don't let the door hit you on the arse on the way out as well. Number 8, Shawn Michaels goes insane. Triple H and tearing quads. They go together like peanut butter and jelly, whereas they should really go together like peanut butter and a child with a deadly nut allergy. Anyway, it happened again with the game collapsing under his own weight after hitting a spinebuster on Randy Orton during an excellent DX rated RKO clash. The problem was, it had kind of buggered up the whole match and indeed the finish. So what were they to do? The remainder of the match was clearly in pieces. I mean, Hunter couldn't even remain standing just to take an RKO from Orton. So the heels tried to create a little bit of tension by slipping on various banana peels as they tried to figure out what on earth they were going to do next. Turns out what they were going to do next is have Shawn Michaels just go f***ing berserk with a steel chair. That'll do it, I suppose. Generating huge pops, HBK punched out the referee, allowing the babyfaces to batter the baddies with chair, much as they'd done to their hero figure Ric Flair in the build-up. It serviced the conclusion to the match perfectly and salvaged what could have been a catastrophic ending, all thanks to Shawn Michaels just going a bit bonkers, basically. Number 7, Thunderclap. A vintage botch that turn-of-the-century fans waited for hours to download on LimeWire or Kazaa, no doubt. The moment the great Sasuke slipped on a springboard attempt during his Super J Cup match with Jushin Liger in 1994 could well have been his undoing. Instead, Liger's own arrogance after the fact got them both to their required destination. If you've never seen it, first of all, how are you a wrestling fan? But second of all, basically, Sasuke goes for a springboard, slips off the top rope, and Liger just looks at him and goes, "Bugger that one up, didn't you, mate?" The patronising applause is legitimately hilarious, but it's such a grand gesture of confidence that it makes it seem as though the masked wrestler is in total control. And in doing so, he walks straight into a Sasuke Hurricane Rana and gets himself pinned. In summary, even when things go badly wrong, the true in-ring greats can make them right. Number 6, AJ Styles versus Finn Balor. Can a whole match be considered a totally improvised spot? Well, yes, when it takes place on 24 hours' notice, involves these two men, and can be considered better than awesome. It was a dream match pitting the first two leaders of a group that Michael Cole still just couldn't quite bring himself to mention on the broadcast, and instead just sort of vaguely referencing them, saying things like, well, Jerry, we all know that these two men led a group over in Japan, all about things you put in guns. It was a glorious battle that seemed to really utilise the last-minute aspect of the match in the match's story itself. The two assembled a minor classic from what could well have been one of the worst pay-per-view matches ever. Let's not forget, before this went down, we were going to get Pumpkin Demon versus Bray Wyatt in full Sister Abigail regalia. Balor and Styles exercised a number of demons here, with Finn finding form that he lost through a wretched feud with the Eater of Worlds, and Styles establishing himself as the guy to dethrone WWE Champion Jinder Mahal. Yes, that happened just a few weeks later. Number 5. Pissing contest. Alright, awesome might be stretching the premise here just a little bit too far, but credit to Drake Maverick for really taking one for the team when WWE's props department badly let him down. Let's just call it what it was. Stupid finish at the 2018 Survivor Series called for Drake Maverick to literally piss himself in fear at the thought of the Bar and Big Show beating him up, despite the fact he had the sodding Authors of Pain in his corner. And he couldn't even salvage any dignity by having, prop piss go down his leg because the prop didn't work. Maverick had no choice but to force one out to ensure the spot went as planned. So Drake just had to kind of improvise on the spot despite some, no doubt, severe stage fright. Yep, that's real piss right there. It's also kind of ironic that he's pissing himself because literally no one else was laughing. Number 4, Money in the Beast. Poor old Mustafa Ali, he had a bit of a rough 2019. By all accounts, it was meant to be he who had that unbelievable spot in the Elimination Chamber match that would then lead to a WWE Championship match at WrestleMania, but then he got injured, Kofi Kingston took his spot, and the rest is history. And then you got to think about what happened to him in the 2019 Money in the Bank match. Yes, for the second time in a year, he was about to be dealt the cruelest hand imaginable. It was Ali, let's not forget, who was atop the ladder, reaching for that Money in the Bank briefcase when Brock Lesnar's music hit. And Ali just froze in fear atop the ladder just long enough for Brock Lesnar to climb into the ring and send the ladder and Mustafa Ali crashing to the outside. As per the usual wrestling rumour mill, Ali and the rest of the challengers were told there was going to be some late arrival who was going to steal in and snatch the briefcase away from all of them, but they weren't told it was going to be this guy, a month after he lost the Universal Championship, seemingly for the last time. Surprise, motherfuckers. Ali's shot was much like an actual move within the match. He knew something was coming, but the sell was as real as it gets. Still though, we got Brock Party, so not all bad news. Number 3, Kurt Angle throws Shane McMahon through glass. Where do you begin with this bloody bloodbath? Basically, Shane McMahon had thwarted Kurt Angle's chances of becoming a 2-time King of the Ring, so Kurt Angle, by the looks of what happened on pay-per-view, tried to murder him. The match was enjoyable, if you like that sort of thing, I suppose, and was meant to have an unforgettable visual with Kurt Angle chucking Shane McMahon through some glass to kind of finish it all off. It's just it didn't happen the first time, or the second time, or even the third time. It actually takes 2 attempts to get through the first one and a further 3 to get through the second. Angle was beyond pissed off with the panels by then. He'd given up his overhead suplex strategy, several of which just seemed to end with Shane McMahon hitting the glass and then sliding down to land on his neck. So for the final one, Angle decided, I'm just going to go full Shawn Michaels on Marty Jannetty at the Barbershop and chuck him head first through it. That ought to do the trick. And to be fair, it did. and it was a visual so powerful they put it as the SmackDown credit sequence afterwards. Ugh.
Hello there everybody. You're probably expecting the voice of Adam Wilborn to tell you the name of this next entry, but unfortunately, he went on holiday for 2 weeks and forgot to record it before he left. So now, you've got me, Adam Cleary, telling you the name of this next entry. Are you ready? Here we go. Number 2, Bad Creative. See you soon.
Meme machine Chris Jericho cut one of the promos of the year on only the second ever episode of AEW Dynamite. In one promo, he managed to name and introduce all the members of his new Inner Circle stable, change himself from Painmaker to Le Champion, and set up his World Championship match with Cody at the company's second official pay-per-view. After talking up mainstream newcomers Sammy Guevara and Proud and Powerful, Chris Jericho shifted his gaze to Jake Hager, a man very well known to wrestling fans as a John Laurinaitis-era WWE cast-off Jack Swagger, and my best friend. Despite a dodgy run, he did manage to bring that "We the People" chant to MMA, to the indie scene, and on that night, to AEW Dynamite. But Chris Jericho wasn't having any of it. Turning on the crowd and his former employer, he dubbed the bit a, quote, stupid idea from Bad Creative. Never a truer word. A genius bit of improvisation. This was far from pandering. Chris Jericho had engineered something so that AEW loyalists could have a big anti-WWE pop, whilst also accepting the fact they now needed to boo Hager rather than celebrate his former self. It was a bit like the rest of Jericho's monologue, worthy of celebration. Speaking of which, number 1, a little bit of the bubbly. It was AEW's first mainstream success story. It happened almost entirely by accident, and it very nearly didn't happen at all. It was a little bit of luck, a little bit of magic from pro wrestling's greatest ever magician, in my opinion, and of course, a little bit of the bubbly. This wasn't just another catchphrase to add to the pantheon of others at his disposal. This was a boy-popping sensation from the All Out post-show that swept social media in seconds. Chris Jericho's alcoholic aside while celebrating his AEW World Heavyweight Championship victory spawned memes, gifs, musical tributes, and his own bloody line of champagne. What? Oh, and let's not forget, a little bit later on, the belt was actually stolen whilst Le Champion indulged in his victory. It's one of the funniest wrestling tales of 2019, and it'll be forever tied to this remarkably silly bit of banter by one of the industry's canniest ever kingpins. I love him. A little bit of the bubbly. And that's our list. Did we miss any out? Let us know in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. Plus, you can check out some more recent videos here. Thanks for watching. I've been Adam from What Culture, and I'll see you soon. Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture, here to let you know we want your live event videos, whether that be something that happened after the cameras stopped rolling, or your reaction to something amazing that went down at the show you were at. Stuff like this.
One of the other sweetest things I've ever seen was just recently when we saw Roman Reigns kick the shit out of cancer and come back on Monday Night Raw.
So make sure you send them to us in all the usual ways. You can tweet them at us, you can send them to us on Facebook, you can email them to us. Hell, if it's your sort of thing, you can stick them on a memory stick and post them to What Culture. But the one thing you need to remember is good, bad. Thanks for watching. Bye.